Hey, how's it going? Welcome back to another episode of Usagi Yojimbo, a podcast all about that little Ronin rabbit, Usagi Yojimbo, or Miyamoto Usagi is his name, and this is a podcast all about him where we go through issue by issue, looking, discussing, talking about, theorizing what may or may not happen next. But yeah, we got a good one for you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed, and gals, enjoyed the Power Rangers Usagi crossover. Now we are looking at one of the color specials, which is next in the Usagi Yojimbo Saga Book 2. And yeah, this is the first colored Usagi I think I'm covering for the podcast, except for the Power Rangers. I don't remember if I covered the color specials 1, 2, or 3, to be honest. I think this might be the first one. But yeah, I'm excited to get into this and talk about this. I'm kind of glad I'm sticking to a schedule. I did kind of procrastinate in recording this, so I'm recording this as of Sunday. It's going to be released on a Monday. But yeah, if you're listening on my YouTube channel, Usagi Yojimbo, make sure to go like, subscribe, and comment on the videos. It helps people find my channel. We're at 41 subscribers at the moment, I believe. So yay, we're slowly but surely growing. All the episodes are up on there, and also all the episodes are on all major podcast catching platforms like Spotify and Apple Podcasts and Amazon Music. But yeah, we got a good one for you. I know there are some people out there who don't really like the colored Usagi stuff because Usagi is in black and white. But I have to say, I really enjoy looking at all the colors and stuff in here. I think it's beautiful. Even though I know I started reading Usagi in the colored issue reprints that IDW was putting out. But I have to say, I know there's kind of a divide in the fandom. I like both the black and white version and the colored version. They're both beautiful, in my opinion, in their own ways. But yeah, let's get into this. So we are looking at, if I can turn the page, we are looking at, what is the name of this? The green Persimmon. Persimmon. I think that's how you say it. Which I'll probably just call it the porcelain tomato, to be honest, because it looks like a porcelain tomato to me. But I don't know why that made me laugh so hard. Oh man, but first we start our story out with this man. He has been shot in the back with some arrows. He is slumped over on his horse. His horse is going crazy. And we see it running through the outskirts of this village. And this little boy, which I don't know what this little boy is wearing at the moment, but he looks like he's wearing like a smock G-string combination thing going on. I don't know what it is. But this little boy is going to try to catch this ladybug, and the horse almost runs into him, and Usagi is there to save the day. This little boy's name is Ichiro, which you don't really need to concern yourself about what his name is because he only really shows up in this first couple of pages, and he ends up leaving the story. So Usagi ends up saving this young boy, who narrowly getting into his arms, and he picks him up. He's like, "Oh, hey, you okay there? This your mom? You know, let's give you to your mom." And Usagi notices that this samurai is actually wounded and fallen off his horse. The horse is gone, and he's like, "Oh, he's wearing the Gaishu crest. You know, I wonder what happened to him exactly." And he's like, "Oh, you know, stay calm. You know, don't get overexert yourself." Usagi tries to help him up, and he's like, "My name is Miyamoto Usagi. I am a friend of the Gaishu clan." And he's like, who did this to you?" Usagi says. And he's like, I need to get to Lord Noriyuki. He kind of like, he's like, samurai, samurai. And like Usagi says, and this samurai, unfortunately, passes away. And we see Usagi, he actually grabs this parcel from the samurai and the samurai gives it to him. And he's like, what exactly is this? And he's kind of opens it up and sort of examines it. He's like, it's a green ceramic Persimmon, which I think I'm probably butchering that, to be honest. And we hear over here Ronin, and Sagi's like, what's going on? He kind of looks at these people, and they are some ne'er-do-wells, some brigands, and they are holding the woman and her child hostage at this point. And he's like, you two stay here, don't run away. And Usagi kind of glances at them, and he's like, this man entrusted me with this green ceramic thing, and it was his dying request, so I'm not gonna give it to you. And the guys are like, this is not your concern. You just hand it over, walk away, we'll let you live, basically. These are some ruffians. They're a little, they seem to be up to no good. And Usagi's like, what is this anyway? And he kind of like examines it and holds it up to the light and sort of looks at it, and like, there's nothing out of the ordinary about this little ceramic thing. And they're like, we warned you, get out of here, you meddler. And they all charge at Usagi, and Usagi actually throws up the porcelain thing, and he actually like slices and dices them and like runs through them and actually catches the thing before it hits the ground. It's impressive, I know. And Usagi actually starts to do some little detective work almost, because Usagi's like, the rider was killed by arrows. There must have been some more people, around here besides these swordsmen, because the swordsmen couldn't have killed him. They don't have any arrows, obviously. But so many have already died for this weird green ceramic tomato-looking thing. He better actually go give this to Lord Noriyuki quickly as possible. So Usagi starts to like walk down the road, and he's like, too bad that horse went away, because I could have used the horse. And we see these people off in the distance. They're on like this hill, and they're like, he is an amazing swordsman. He killed those Ronin we hired to go after and get this thing for us. He's like, yeah, he was an exceptional like swordsman. Like, what exactly are we going to do with this? And like, we need to go get him. They said, he's headed towards the province of the Gaishu clan, with one of Lord Noriyuki's vessels. And we actually see Usagi walking along, and he's walking along the coast, admiring the water, walking with some tokages, which, is this the first time we've seen like a purplish, pinkish tokage? I thought all the tokages were green, but I could be wrong. But yeah, who knows what there. Maybe it was just a miscoloring for this, but Usagi continues to walk, and he actually notices that there's an innkeeper around, and he's like, greetings, samurai, the innkeeper says. And Usagi's like, bring me bring me some tea, please, I am parched as the desert. He's like, I don't blame you, it's dry out here, the wind's dry, you can't really, be parched while you're wandering and stuff. Let me go get you something to drink. And so Usagi actually asks the innkeeper, like, how far exactly are we from the Gaishu province? He's like, not far, samurai, over these hills and across the plains, and you'll be there, Enjoy your tea. And, Usagi starts to enjoy his tea, and he starts to, like, examine this thing that he has a little bit more. And we hear, oh, man, this is beautiful. And we see the man from before who was on the hill, or I guess it's a hill, a tiny mountain, I don't know what you would call it. He's like, excuse me, I was admiring your porcelain. And he's like, are you familiar with this ceramic? Usagi says. He's like, I have an acquaintance with the art. Not acquaintance. I misread that. Acquisition with the arts. Perhaps you would let me examine it closer, he says. And Usagi's like, I don't know about that. I don't trust you. I'm sorry. I can't let you put your hands on this. I can't let you put your grubby little hands on this. And he's like, oh, no offense taken, the mystery man says. Innkeeper, bring me your finest sake. And he goes to get sake, the innkeeper does. And they're like, no rush at all. And the man says, you should have given up the porcelain willingly, Ronin. And Usagi's like, what's so important about this porcelain thing that we got here? He's like, we're not here to answer your questions, Ronin. You're meddling in our affairs long enough. Just hand it over, and we'll leave you in one piece. And Usagi takes a sip of his tea, and we see the man charge at Usagi. He's like, I'm going to kill you. And Usagi wastes his tea. He throws it back. Honestly, I thought Usagi should have probably thrown the tea in the guy's face to act as a distraction. But sadly, that does not happen. And Usagi just takes all these guys out. It's a pretty cool fight scene. And we see, which is pretty funny. This part is actually pretty funny, where the innkeeper is like, be patient. There's no need to start yelling for things and stuff. And we see him grabbing the sake and stuff. And he comes out, and all these people are just dead in front of his inn, which he's like, what? Like, how did this happen? Which I'm surprised. Like, what is he going to do with all these dead bodies? Because there's like 6 of them out there. There's like six dead bodies out there. And like, I just don't know what he's going to do with these dead bodies. But Usagi actually continues to walk, and he's like, that Ronin has killed 2 teams of assassins, these people say. Not Usagi. Usagi doesn't say that. But the people who are watching Usagi say that. It's kind of weird how the word balloons are, and it looked like Usagi was talking for a minute. To be honest, but the Emperor hired us to retrieve the porcelain. Porcelain? The parcel. I don't know why I said porcelain. Porcelain. I'm getting my words mixed up, to be honest. It's really late as I'm recording this. But, they have to stop the Ronin. And they're like, we're going to kill him. So what do? They start firing arrows at Usagi. And Usagi goes to dodge the arrows. Which is a pretty cool scene to see, like, all these arrows being fired at Usagi. And they're like, don't let him get away. We need to get him before he escapes. And they're just shooting arrows left and right at this guy. And they're like, okay, we got it. We're going to pull out the big guns. And they start lighting arrows on fire and shooting arrows at Usagi. And they basically, like, shoot it into the grass, and the grass catches on fire. And it ends up surrounding Usagi. So Usagi is basically surrounded by fire at the moment. And he's like, I've got to run. I got to get away from the fire. This way, that way. No, I'm all surrounded by this fire. I can't really get out. And he's like, only one small chance to do as Prince Yamato did when he was trapped, like I am. Which, if you know your Usagi history, you know who Prince Yamato is and what sword he actually had in his possession, which this story ties heavily into what is to come. But Usagi starts cutting the grass, and he's like, what is this? They're like, what is this Ronin doing? Why is he cutting the grass? I don't understand what his actions are he's taking are like, well, what? He's just cutting grass. And all these guys start charging next to the fire, and we see the fire. It is like blazing at this point. And they're all like kind of surrounding it. The bad guys the brigands are surrounding the fire. And, they're like, obviously he cannot survive the outcome of this. Oh, and I love this scene coming up. This scene coming up is so awesome. So the men are basically, they let all the fire die down. Like, they basically scorched and cut and burned this entire field. Or I guess burned the entire field. What is it where you get rid of the shrubbery and you just burn it? It's like a special technique. I can't remember exactly off the top of my head. But they burn it. They're like, search everywhere. The Ronin's body has to be around here. And like, oh man, the field is still hot. Like, the field is still on fire in points. And they're trying to figure out where exactly Usagi is. Some of them are starting to wonder if he's actually there. And some of them are starting to wonder if this porcelain ceramic thing is as valuable as people say it is. And they're like, quiet, we need to find out where he is. I didn't hire y'all to talk. You gotta find this guy. And we see Usagi has burrowed himself underground because he kind of pops his hand out like an undead zombie. And Usagi looks like a zombie here. Like, he is has tattered clothes. His eyes are dark. He is a little dirty and soiled. Like, he is not having it at the moment. And we see the men. They're like, oh my God, this is impossible. No way this could happen. And Usagi is like, roar. He's kind of acting like a zombie, almost yelling at him. And they're like, only a devil could have survived this fire. But we'll show the devil how the devil dies. And so they start shooting arrows at Usagi. And Usagi starts breaking them with his sword. And these men charge Usagi. And they do outnumber him at this point. But Usagi is not having it. Usagi takes all of them on single-handedly. So one of the last surviving brigands, who is still alive at this point, actually fires a shot at Usagi. He fires an arrow at Usagi and actually wounds Usagi, surprisingly. And he's like, you killed all my comrades, Ronin, but I will avenge their deaths. And he actually shoots him in sort of the upper arm, shoulder area. It's pretty gruesome to see Usagi. He's clutching his arm, and this guy is point blank has an arrow at Usagi's face, and he's like, such is karma, Usagi. He's like, YOLO, you only live once, basically. And we see this arrow zip through the air, and this archer gets shot right through the chest. And we hear, are you okay? And we see the silhouette, because obviously things are still on fire, there's smoke. We see somebody on horseback. He's like, who are you? Who's out there? And Usagi kind of gets up and starts to sort of hold his arm. And we happen to see, this person say, you're not supposed to be here, Usagi. This is suspicious, and what exactly is going on here? Why are you getting yourself into trouble? And we happen to see that it is Tomoe. Oh, good old Tomoe. We haven't seen Tomoe in quite a long time. It's been quite a while since we've seen her. And she never expected to see Usagi out here. She's like, let me tend to your arm, because Usagi still has an arrow in his arm. And she looks at him and she's like, I was looking for someone, a courier of Lord Noriyuki's. He was supposed to show up, but he was late. And Usagi says, oh, I met your courier. Unfortunately, he died. But I do have this green ceramic tomato, and you can have it. And he's like, oh, thank God, it hasn't broken, Tomoe says. And, what's so special about this, Usagi says. And, he's like, Tomoe says, let Lord Noriyuki say exactly what this thing might be and why everybody wants it. So we actually end up going to Lord Noriyuki's in the Gaishu province. And Lord Noriyuki is happy Usagi is basically alive and not dead. And Usagi asked, it was an honor, Lord Noriyuki, that I could help you out with this request. But I need to know, what is this thing all about, and why did I almost die for it? And we end up actually finding out that this has everything to do with the Shadow Lord, Lord Hikiji. And we find out that there are other provinces and out there, other lords who do not want Lord Noriyuki to succeed and are working with Lord Hikiji. We end up finding out that there's information that they have been told that there's some kind of secret agreement with this foreign black ships dealing basically boatloads of like matchlock guns. But, we do not know where or when they will be delivered exactly. Lord Hikiji has recently sent Sakamoto a gift, that ceramic Persimmon, and I believe that it holds the answers we are seeking. Our agents managed to intercept this piece before it reached Sakamoto. Many died getting it there, so that is very interesting. And Usagi's like, but I examined this thing closely and I was looking at it for most of this comic book. Usagi was looking at this thing. And he's like, I can't find anything special about it. And Tomoe pipes up and she's like, perhaps it might help if you told us the details of how it came into your possession. And Usagi is like, looking at this thing, holding it up to his face. And he's like, there's nothing much to tell. I came upon the dying courier, across a long coast road. And the coast road, I remember thinking how rugged, it is. The coastline is so irregular, much like, and he starts to put pieces of the puzzle together, much like the thing he is holding in his hands. And Tomoe is shocked, and she's like, oh my god, you figured this out. And he's like, it's so simple to see and figure this out. Yeah, I figured it out. And he's like, look, here it is. You see the glaze. It is a map of the coastline. I just traveled around. The blemishes must be represent, tomorrow night and a full moon. And Tomoe's like, that's impossible. It's so simple. Oh my god. And we see Lord Noriyuki hold his hand out to take the ceramic Persimmon thing. And he's like, thank you. We will be able to inspect the shipment and ruin Lord Hikiji's plans, at least for a while, apparently. And Usagi says, but I will wager that the shadowy lord will find a way to avoid being implicated in this conspiracy. And our story ends with Tomoe saying, even so, Usagi, we should celebrate this day. It's not often that we get a victory over the Shadow Lord, which is very interesting, and that is where our comic ends. I have to say, for just a special, this is pretty fun. It does have some implications for the future, obviously. If you know your Usagi lore, you know your Usagi lore. It ties pretty heavily into Grasscutter, if I remember correctly. But it's fun. This definitely is one you can kind of read by yourself. I feel like it is tied into the overarching story, but it's kind of its own standalone story in a sense too, almost. It's almost like a prelude to what's to come, I guess you could say. But I loved this. I loved this issue. It was a lot of fun. I really liked seeing Usagi in, as I drop my microphone, I love seeing Usagi in color. I know we've had color for Usagi in the IDW stuff. That's the only thing I've really ever seen Usagi in color in. So it was cool to see earlier colored versions of Usagi, which I gotta be honest, I like a little more than the new color stuff. I liked all the techniques they used and stuff. It was very beautifully well drawn. I love all the textures on things. I love all the little details. Everything is still superb and perfect with Stan Sakai's work. I mean, his is top notch. It's very simplified, but very detailed almost at the same time. And it's just, beautiful, and I love it. I get it that people have some problems with the colors and stuff, but I don't. I think they both work well, whether you want to read this in black and white or color. I mean, there's a lot going on with Usagi, and there's a lot of Usagi in black and white, and it was Stan's choice to basically go into color, probably to hope to see if more people would read it, to be honest, because I feel like there's a big stigma to like black and white comics for the most part. I don't know if that stigma still stands to this day, but I know for a while there was like some snobbiness when it came to like black and white comics. Like, oh, you read black and white comics? Oh, why would you do that? Almost like manga. But yeah, no, I love this story. I thought it was fun. It does set things up to come, which is a very subtle way of doing it. Like if you read this and you didn't know like what it was setting up, I think it would be a shock, and something somebody would easily brush over, to be honest, with the reference of the Prince Yamato and stuff. But yeah, it's fun. I loved all the fights in it. I loved like seeing these people stalk Usagi. Like it was crazy. And I don't know if Usagi noticed that people were stalking him or not. But yeah, I'm looking forward to the next part, which we are moving into Grass Cutter, which the beginning of Grass Cutter is going to be a big, huge info dump. I don't know if I'm going to cover the first part of Grass Cutter or not. I don't know. It's basically like these like prologues, and then we get into the main Grass Cutter story. But those don't have Usagi in it. But maybe I might do like, I don't know, an info dump at the beginning of maybe part 1 or something. I don't know. I still haven't figured it out. But this will be my first time reading Grass Cutter, which, to me personally, as somebody who is covering it, it seems like a little bit of a daunting task because it's such a big, beloved story. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it as well. I mean, I don't know. I'm just nervous. I don't know. I'm just nervous because it's big. I think it's the biggest crossover in Usagi. I mean, because the Dragon Bellow conspiracy was pretty big, but I mean, I got through that. I don't know. Maybe it's just my nerves and anxiety to cover it. I don't know. I want to do it good. I don't want to do it in an injustice, I have to say. But yeah, this issue was fun. I enjoyed it. I like all the little characters we got to see. I like to see the introduction or reintroduction of Tomoe. Tomoe is probably one of my favorite characters in this, like right up there with Jin. Even though she didn't do much in this, like I'm glad that she got brought back into the fold of this story, because she's been out of it for quite some time. But anyways, I just want to say thank you for listening to this episode of the podcast. I'm Otaku Mike. We'll catch you guys on the next episode, which will be in 2 weeks. But yeah, if you're listening on the podcast on the YouTube channel, make sure to like, subscribe, and comment down below. Sorry for all the mispronunciations and stumbling in this episode. It's about 10 o'clock where I am right now, and I am really, really tired. I've been getting a lot of overtime at work, and I'm just exhausted. I'm exhausted, but I really want to put it out an episode for you guys. I didn't want to miss a week and go back on hiatus. So thank you for understanding and bearing with me at this moment. And we'll catch you guys on the next episode. Stay safe and go read some Usagi Yojimbo.